Hello, everybody. Indie Corner Radio is brought to you by my film company, Sick Flick Productions. Sick Flick Productions is a Virginia-based film production company specializing in horror and sci-fi fantasy. Go to sickflickproductions.com to find out more information. And now on to the show. All right, everybody, welcome back to Indie Corner Radio. We are in our second season, and I'm your host, Jonathan Moody. And our first guest up is an actress, producer, and director, Liz Fletcher. How are you doing, Liz?
I'm good, Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I am really excited. So Liz and I just started, I don't know, talking about the films that she's been in for a while and like her career. So first of all, I'd love to know, how did you get into like acting? What was it that made you get attracted to this?
So I first started acting my freshman year of high school. I got the role of Lucy in our high school production of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And from that moment on, it was the only thing that I ever wanted to do. I kind of gave up a little bit after high school. I wanted to get a job that I knew would pay the bills. So I became a nurse. I'm still a nurse now, but the last year I was so burned out by it, I decided to start pursuing acting again. So here I am.
That's wonderful. So you were Lucy. Wow.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that. Like, I always love hearing about like children's productions and everything. Was that like really exciting time, or was it like nerve-wracking? How did you feel when you were a child doing that?
I think there was, of course, some nerves involved. I was a freshman. I hadn't really done anything like that before, but I just really enjoyed it. It was a great cast. I feel pretty proud of myself looking back that I was a freshman and got such a huge role in the school play, because it's everybody auditioning for it, not just, people my age. So I felt pretty good about that I got such a big role. But yeah, there were definitely some nerves involved. Theater is so different than film. You have to know not that you don't have to know your lines for film, but there's a little bit more room for error than in theater.
Yeah, definitely. And like in film, you can cut and you can kind of retake it or do whatever, but in theater it's like you got to go. You can't really, like, if you mess up or you screw a line up, you got to just keep going with it or whatever, because otherwise
right,
it looks terrible.
Or if pieces of the set fall down in the middle of the production.
Wow.
That did happen. I'm pretty sure it was that play, but with theater, you just have to think really quickly on your feet. You have to be able to improvise. And so after that had happened, I walked on stage with another character and said something like, "Wow, that was a pretty bad storm we had."
Well, that just see, there you go. You have to think you got to think on your feet when you're doing theater, because like otherwise it looks weird. But yeah, let me so you did your theater and now you're doing film. Tell us a little bit about your film experience. Like, what was the first role that you booked?
So one of the there are actually, I would say, two directors that I've worked with mainly that really kind of took that first chance on me. The first one was Sammy Spencer. He's a director, writer, based out of Eastern Kentucky. And I auditioned for one of his films called Messenger of Death and got the part. And it was absolutely wonderful working with him. One of the things that I like about my journey so far is the people that I've worked with. You don't just work with them and move on. You basically have a friend for life. Not every production, I'm sure, is like that, but Sammy's been great. He and I are good friends. He'll often text me just to see how things are going. Really, really cool director to work with. The other one is Christopher. I'm going to butcher his last name. Scenes. He is a director, writer based out of Western Kentucky, and he makes these social awareness films. So he talks a lot about topics like depression, suicide, human trafficking. So I love that he's not just making films, but he's making films that help people be more aware of issues. But he's also become a good friend of mine, and you've become a good friend of mine, and we haven't even worked together yet.
I mean, yeah, we haven't yet, but we do have many plans, and just like you said, yeah, it's sort of like a family. Once you've gotten together with people, you kind of want to keep working with them, and that's what I feel like. And I'm sure it has happened with you on multiple films and everything too, which is wonderful. So tell us a little bit about so you're talking about the films that like matter to you. Like what's an issue today that you feel hasn't really been talked about enough in film that you think should be brought up?
I think mental health is very important to me. Um, it's very close, near and dear to my heart. Um, I've battled depression and anxiety for several years, and um, it's really kind of shocking to me sometimes when I come across people that still have that stigma towards depression. I've actually had friends not want anything, well, friends
Hmm.
not want anything to do with me anymore because of it. And certainly, I think if it's not treated, it can definitely wreak havoc on a person's life. But, when you're taking your medication, getting therapy, doing all the things you're supposed to, and you're being treated, I think you can live a life just like anybody else can. And honestly, I don't know how many, there's probably more people that have something like that and struggle with it than there are people that don't. So I think, I think trying to get more awareness of that out there, and just knowing that it's okay to have that sort of thing, it's really important.
Somebody had posted something recently about making mental, like, like therapy, or going to like psychiatrists or psychologists or whatever, a little bit more available,
Mhm.
money wise. And I feel like a
Oh,
lot of times
absolutely.
that's like maybe even free for people, because like that's a lot of times people go, well, I don't want to go to therapy, or I don't want to do this and get the help that they want because they can't afford it, you know
Right.
and then our suicide rates get higher and higher because people just can't take the stuff going on in their head, so I'm just wondering about that. Like, I'm also wondering, why is it so worse nowadays than it's been like even the last few decades? I feel like it's gotten even worse, you know.
I I kind of agree with that in a way, but in another way I don't. I think that we're all so much more connected than we used to be, decades ago. Um, And I feel like people are a lot more open nowadays than they used to be. I mean, people in the 50s, 60s, I'm sure struggled with depression. They just didn't talk about it as much as we do nowadays. But at the same time, I think our culture contributes to it as well. Things like, social media in your face 24/7, 24/7 news, just people are a lot more busy than they used to be. I think all of those things contribute to it being a more widespread problem now.
I agree. And I think also a lot of times the pandemic didn't help at all
Oh my
because pe-
gosh.
people are isolating a lot more. And so, I mean, that's what we want to do. However, for some people, isolation's already bad enough for them, like this just makes it even worse. And I feel like, uh, anxiety and depression and all that stuff is happening even worse now because of, the world we're living in right now.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like as a nurse, I mean, are you seeing a lot more stuff than you normally would because of the pandemic?
I think if I worked in an area like the emergency room, like I used to, we would see a lot more of that, a lot more people with struggling with mental health issues come in. Uh, for where I work right now in the recovery room, I see people when they're waking up from anesthesia. So it's not really,
Do
I
you
don't really notice it as much in that area.
Oh man, okay, so this is bad. So I don't know how you feel about this, but I watched those YouTube videos with the kids waking up from anesthesia. Were there any really good like stories you have? Come
Yes.
on, tell me some
Yes.
stories.
Okay. I would say um the craziest thing that anybody has ever said to me when waking up from anesthesia, he was talking about our local movie theaters. I guess we were talking about movies. I don't know. And he said, this is a quote, I would rather stick my dick in a blender than go to that movie theater.
How old was this
mean, I
kid?
don't see what the issue. Oh, it was not a kid,
Oh,
Jonathan. It was
oh,
a full grown man.
no, I'm just saying some of these things were kids that were saying these things. Like my favorite one is that kid. I guess he got famous for it, but he was like talking about going to Dubai and stuff. Have you seen that
Oh
kid?
yeah, I think I saw that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like my favorite kid waking up from anesthesia. But
People
okay,
are so funny.
an adult, saying that I can get it, I guess. But
I've heard little old ladies cuss like sailors when they wake up, and normally they would never say anything like that in everyday life.
Okay, so you're a nurse, you know a lot about this stuff. Is there something in the anesthesia that like messes with your mind or something? Like why do kids kind of act a little bit different, or not kids, but anybody act a little bit different when they wake up from their anesthesia?
Well, people are just relaxed and their inhibitions are basically gone.
So they just say whatever comes to their
Say
head,
and
I
do
guess.
whatever. Yes. Yes. It's very interesting.
Have you been under anesthesia before yourself?
Yeah, I don't think I said or did anything crazy though.
Well,
It was
darn.
boring.
Oh, well, you're nothing. You're not boring at all. You're like, you yourself.
Yeah.
You're always there. You're always doing something. It seems if you're doing something with your family, with your work, and with your acting career. So I know that you are planning on directing and producing, and I guess are you writing as well, or are you just directing and producing?
No, so you make the directing and producing sound bigger than what it actually is. So these short films, there are these short monologue films that I do with Christopher Sands. I'm so sorry I'm butchering your name. Um, um, so the ones that I've done with him, I self-tape with my phone. He'll write the script, I'll learn the script, and then I'll self-tape it with my phone. So that's where that comes in, is I'm basically filming the movie in my home and kind of directing it myself and everything. So that's what, as for anything bigger than that, I don't know. It may be if the opportunity presents itself down the road, but right now I'm just happy to be acting.
See, you're the one making it sound smaller than it is, because like still that's amazing. Being able to do something, shoot something in your house, make something and put it out and make it available, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
See? I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be. Like I that's how I feel. Like I feel like no matter what, always oversell yourself. Don't, and I've been told, cuz I do the same thing that you do all the time. I undersell myself. I'm like, "Oh, I'm not that great. I don't do this. I'm not."
You are though.
I'm right. And here's the thing. I've been told you gotta oversell yourself, because the thing is, people don't like to hear, oh, it's a little thing, it's a small thing. They want to hear it's a big thing so that they can check it out, because and you should, everybody should know that, like, when you go to see something, you want to see something, even if you're maybe a little maybe let down by the thing because it sounded grander than it is, you still people, it still piques people's interest.
Right.
And it gets people excited. And so I think you're doing a great job. And I think it's pretty amazing that you're able to make these little monologue movies. Hopefully they'll stretch into something that you'll be able, maybe Christopher will write you something that you can just actually shoot a real video with, because beautiful thing is you can shoot movies with your phone now. You know,
Right.
we don't,
Well,
and in 4K.
right. One of the things I love most about acting is I want to make people feel something. There's nothing better than going to see a movie or film, and we were talking about the difference between movies and films the other day. There's
I'm still
nothing.
confused by that, by the
I
way.
know.
I don't know, like, I
I'm
think I
just
could give
gonna.
you my definition of it, but anyway, go ahead.
um there's nothing better than the whole reason people go and see movies or films is because they want to feel something. They want to see this person on the screen. They want to care about this person, because if you're watching a movie and the actor's just not doing a great job, or maybe the script sucks and you don't feel anything towards that character, you don't care what happens to them. You don't care what happens in the movie. So one of the things I've always wanted to do is I want to make people feel something. And so with these short monologue films that I've done so far, one of them I actually have used as, and it's used for auditions. When I submit for auditions, I've submitted that monologue film, and it's gotten me a lot of callbacks. It's very powerful, and the people that have watched it, it's even brought some people to tears, and that is what I want. That's what it's all about, I feel like.
You want to connect with people. You want people to
Mhm.
connect with you as well. And that's amazing. That's the thing about art, you know.
Yeah,
But some people are just in for the entertainment value of, like, which is
that's
fine.
true too.
I like, a lot of times, I mean, it depends on the mood that I'm in. Sometimes I want to be crying and be, connecting to it. Sometimes I just want to have a good
Want to watch
time.
people get their heads chopped off.
We've talked about that before too. Yeah, sometimes just getting their heads chopped off is just enough for me. But a lot of times it's whatever the feeling is. Like,
Right. No, I get that.
yeah. And I mean, you've done horror, you've done comedy, you've done drama, you've done, all these different genres. What's your favorite?
I really like horror right now.
Are you just saying that because I'm talking to you, or are you like?
No, it's really a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I love the blood and the gore, and it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah. What's your like least favorite aspect of horror these days?
Mm, That's a tough question. I'm not sure how to answer that.
I mean, there's sometimes I feel like the horror genre gets into like this little slump where it's like so many people are making horror films these days, right?
That's true.
So we're kind of in the slump where there's just too much content out there, so many people are making the same movie. Like um
Right.
do you know how many exorcisms of somebody or other there are? You know how many,
That's true.
and I'm not saying that's a bad thing if they can deliver it originally and everything, but it becomes like this
Monotonous.
exactly monotonous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of get a little bit, I don't know, get kind of bored with a lot of stuff. Like only once in a while a horror film, like a real horror film, will come around that will just like shake my world up. And there's some movies I won't watch, some horror films I won't watch. Paul gets on me on this all the time. There's a movie called The Witch. I won't watch it. I heard they actually use real rich witchcraft in that movie. I will not watch it. And I know people are like, "There's no such thing as real." What there is,
Yeah.
and I will not watch that because I feel like, I mean, I don't, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to. I don't want
Well,
to.
then don't. You shouldn't have to.
I know. I always feel though I'm like losing out by not seeing something that might be also really amazing. I mean, I've heard it's a really good movie. But I mean, it's one of those things where I still haven't seen. There's some movies I won't see. Like I won't see. What's it? There's really Cannibal Holocaust. You ever heard of that movie?
Mm-mm.
So it was shot like it was one of the first movies that was like banned from the U.S. and it was like I banned from the US because it had like a depiction. I know one thing it did, which was really messed up, was they killed like a real life, I want to say it was a turtle. They like ripped the
Aw.
turtle. And when I heard that, I was like, I don't care if it was like banned or whatever. Like I'll watch those kind of movies, but I won't watch a movie where like in real life animal was actually harmed in the making of this is
Right.
like before PETA or whatever became a big deal. But like I won't watch that, just not my
That's
thing.
understandable. It's not my thing either.
Yeah. So I think we would get along really well just watching different like horror films because I think we have the same, just about the same taste,
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. So you're into the horror genre. Are you into drama as well? Like, do you like acting in dramas?
Yeah, definitely. Uh, let me see. I really haven't been involved in too many dramas so far. I do have a thriller that I'll be in coming up soon. That's going to be filming in Indiana. I actually have the lead role in that. It'll be my first lead role.
Whoa, that's really
Yeah,
cool. I'm really excited for you. So
thank
you're
you.
acting. Oh, I hope so. I hope you're excited.
There'd
you
be
know,
something wrong with me if I wasn't excited.
right? Like you're like, oh, I got a lead role. Oh well, you know. Well, I mean, there's that chemical in your brain, um, to go back to mental health,
Right.
um, but yeah, I love that. Like, I love that you got a lead role. I love that you're doing a thriller because thrillers are just like a step above, I guess, in the like Hollywood term. Because like these days, if you win a Oscar for a horror film, it's not a horror film, it's a thriller. Like was it Silence of the Lambs isn't a horror
Right.
film, it's a thriller. And
Right.
I beg to differ. That movie is a horror film. there was a lady recently, like on Twitter, just like I think it was today, that and today, by the way, this will not be out today. So this is in April, but she had posted a question: is Alien really a horror film? The movie Alien. And I 100% believe it's a horror film.
Yeah.
And she got a lot of bad, like, people were mad. Horror people were, angry at her.
People just want to argue. So annoying.
Well, it's like, is it really a horror film? Yeah. I mean, I could see where people would say it's a sci-fi film, but it's a sci-fi horror film. Like, it's a haunted house, film, like, except it's a haunted spaceship, like, kind of thing. Have you seen Alien?
I haven't.
Oh, well, it's
I know
okay.
it's a classic. I've been living under a rock.
No, it's okay. It's okay because I hadn't seen it. Like, I don't know what made. I think it was because it was an alien movie, and I don't generally like alien movies that much. Like, they're not like my favorite subgenre. But I watched it semi recently, like for the first time, like a couple years ago. So I bought it on Blu-ray and was like, all right, I'll give it a whirl. And then I watched that, and then watched Aliens, and Aliens is by far my favorite thing. But Alien did the one thing that annoys the crap out of me, which I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But it's the idea of like being stuck in one location, basically. I mean, they're just on one ship, and it just drives me nuts. Like I feel claustrophobic when I watch movies like that. And
Yeah, I can totally relate because that is one of my biggest fears is being stuck somewhere. And it's funny, I actually was stuck somewhere the other day.
what? Where?
I so I was filming a short horror film with Sammy Spencer in Eastern Kentucky. We were filming way out in the middle of nowhere, up on top of a mountain. So filming went great. It was a little bit cold. It was snowing on April 1st. We finished up filming. I got in my car and my car would not start. So here I am way out in BFE on the top of a mountain, and my car wouldn't start.
That already sounds like a horror film.
So I was nervous. I was scared. I was stressed out. It was the worst possible place in the world for your car to not start.
Damn. You didn't even tell me any of this, so I had
Why
no
didn't I
idea.
tell you this the other day?
You didn't.
Probably because I was stressed out.
I know. Well, I mean, I was the day that you did that, I was driving back to Virginia.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah,
you might
were
not have told me
driving.
then. You
I
might
probably
not.
didn't want to bother you.
I mean, you got to tell me these things. I like to know as like friends. Jeez.
I can't believe
No.
I didn't tell you, Jonathan.
But no, it's insane. I'm sorry that happened. Goodness. How did you get home?
Well, I don't know if I want to say this on your podcast.
If you need to save it for
It's
later.
really embarrassing. So we waited an hour for his dad to bring jumper cables. It didn't work. They tried hard for 20 minutes to get my battery jumped. It was not the battery. We finally called a tow truck, and the tow truck had just started coming up the mountain when Sammy came over to the driver's side. I was sitting in the car trying to stay warm. And he is like, Elizabeth, is your car in drive? So
Oh, I am so sorry.
my
Oh,
car was in drive when I turned it off. Don't ever do that.
wow.
I'm so embarrassed.
It's okay. It happens. You're probably not the first, nor will you be the last that happens to. So don't worry.
I'm not ever going to do that again.
Yeah, you learned your lesson. pretty quickly. But yeah, see, there you go. Um, but yeah, I'm glad you're okay. I did not know any of that, so I'm glad I know now.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm not mad. I'm just like, wait, huh? This is the first I'm hearing about this. So I'm glad you weren't like stuck by yourself. That would have really
True.
made me like worried about you.
I did have a loaded gun with me though, so.
Well, I mean, you never know. You're in the mountains.
True.
I'm sure not just people, but things in the mountains.
And bears.
Are there bears in the mountain there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
There's bears around when people have to lock up their trash cans when they set them up to the side of the road.
Lock up the trash cans.
Yeah, they keep them in these cages.
They keep the trash cans in cages?
Yeah, so the bears don't get in them.
Oh my God. That's insane.
You've
That's
never
completely
seen that before?
no. I don't.
Oh my gosh.
I don't live anywhere near the mountains, or whatever. Even when I was living in California, I was like far away from the mountains, so no bears or anything. If there was a bear coming at me in Pasadena, I would have been a little bit like, what the heck is going on there? But no, there was no bears. And I live over in the woods right now in Virginia, but there's still no we don't have any bears because we don't have enough like land.
That you know of.
I don't know. I know we had, I want to say we had coyotes or something, before, but I don't know. Like it's weird because like our land is still being developed and everything. So things are getting shut down. So even deer are, fleeing, I do remember one time somebody lost their cows. And so we had the videotape of like the cows walking by in the woods. That was the strangest thing I've ever seen, but yeah, that's all I remember. We don't have bears here that I know of. I've not ran into a bear yet in my woods. I'd be pretty weirded out if I did. I'd be like, okay, my dog is not coming out here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already worried about owls with my dog.
Right.
Can you imagine a bear? Oh Lord. So I guess tell us what are you up to now? What do you got going on for yourself?
So I've got The Doorman, which is the thriller that I was talking about. That's going to be filming hopefully in the next month or two. Also next month, I've got a short film that's going to be filming here in Kentucky. It's just going to be a day shoot. I've also got, I got a lot of stuff going on. I auditioned for and got accepted into this murder mystery group based out of Lexington.
Like a dinner group or?
Yes.
Nice.
So I'm a little nervous because it's a lot of structured improv, I guess, I think is what they call it. But they do these dinner shows, and so I've got one of those next month. It'll be my first one. I'm nervous.
What is structured improv? I've never heard that term.
So you have your group of actors. Everybody is assigned a role. There's no lines per se, but you have all this information about your character, all this information about the other characters. It's basically a whodunit. 5 minutes before the show, they let you know who's going to be the one that's killed, and then the show's going to be revolving around that, with the audience trying to figure out who did it.
Wait, does the killer know who the killer is?
The killer knows who the killer is.
Okay.
But it's up to the audience to figure out
who the killer is.
Who did it.
Yeah.
So there's no lines really, but you just kind of interact with the other characters. But then there's also kind of a schedule throughout the show. So at a certain time, this needs to happen, and at a
Oh,
certain time, this person needs to say this. So that's
so that's
why
where
I
the
like
structure comes
structure,
in.
right? But
Cool.
I think it'll be really, I'm really excited to work with everybody. It seems, from what I've seen so far, everybody just seems like a family, very close knit. I think regarding the improv, I think that will help with my acting skills quite a bit too. So,
Yeah, definitely. It'll be a chance for you to like kind of see about like where to go on the next level, each time
mhm.
or whatever. That's really cool. I like that. Well, I'm really excited for you. I'm
Thank you.
glad you got that job. Um, so I guess that's about it. Is there anything like I guess you said before on the last show that we did with you that a lot of people can find you on IMDb and on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
All right. So everybody look up Liz Fletcher on IMDb. And I think it's Elizabeth Fletcher, unless you have do you have a like
Is it?
regular face? It is on your Facebook.
Okay, I wasn't
That's your
sure. I'm glad you
personal
looked that
though.
up.
Is that
Yeah, it's my personal one. I probably need to do a professional one eventually.
okay? I mean, yeah, yeah,
Maybe my
so
manager could help me with that. Wink, wink.
maybe. So yeah, thank you so much. You were wonderful, like as a guest, and uh you will be doing a lot of stuff with the Indie Film Cafe. So we're really excited. She just did her first Indie Film Cafe episode, as well as so that's actually comes out before this. And then and also what comes out before this is the Quick Review Thursday. And then I think we've got you scheduled for a bunch of other ones. So you're gonna be you're gonna be
Keep
busy
me
with
busy.
us and with your own stuff. Like you're just constantly busy. You know,
Yeah,
that's good.
that's why I need to get some sleep.
I know, right? Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight,
Thank you,
uh,
Jonathan.
and everybody check her out online and tell her what's up. All right, everybody, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.